The thing that looks like a miracle to you may not look like a miracle to God. Let me explain. A lot of us pray and we ask God for a miracle in whatever situation we're going through. It's financial, for healing, we're going through sickness, whatever the case may be. We pray, we like, God, please come through for us. Like we need a miracle. We've seen miracles happen all throughout the Bible, like all throughout the New Testament. When Jesus was on earth, he performed many miracles. So when you read about or when you hear about miracles that God is doing or that God did, you get these expectations like, okay, God is going to come through for me in that kind of way. And a lot of times, yes, God can come through in that kind of way. But also, a lot of times, the miracle is not what we think the miracle should be. So when God does perform a miracle for us, we don't see it as a miracle, or we can become ungrateful because it's not what we pictured it to be. So because the miracle isn't what we think it should be, this creates a discontent for God. And that's why a lot of the Jews and the Pharisees all throughout the New Testament had a hard time believing in Jesus and believing that he was the coming Messiah that was prophesied many years before. And this is also why when they were praying and asking God for food in the wilderness and he provided manna, they were still not satisfied. But we have to remember, God's ways are above our ways. His thoughts are above our thoughts. He doesn't always provide you what you want, but more often than not, he will provide you with what you need. So just because the miracle doesn't look like what you think it should look like, it doesn't mean that it's not a miracle. It just means that God knew what you needed. So that means we have to shift our perspective and see it the way that God sees it. And the only way that we can see it the way God sees it is by asking God to open our eyes. We have to ask him for the wisdom and for him to reveal things to us that we may not understand. You may have a bill that's due for $1,000 and you're expecting a check in the mail, but God may send somebody your way to hand you $1,000 in cash. And a lot of times we would end up giving our praise to that person instead of God because we see, oh, this person helped me out, not God. But little do you know, that's God's miracle. That's God's way of blessing you. That's God's way of answering your prayers. So the next time you ask God for a miracle and it doesn't look like what you wanted it to look like, it doesn't look like how you pictured it in your mind, still give him his praise because he knew what you needed better than what you wanted.